let's go ahead and we'll call the meeting to order. Before I get started, can we go around the room and introduce yourselves? If you'd like to start.
I'm Delaney Coffey. Fred Coffey's my husband. Fred Coffey. This is my son and daughter-in-law. Pam Rose.
I thought he looked a little bit like you.
Jim Rose, head writer.
And
Bill Sparkman. Ari Goldberg.
And Zachary Sarge.
okay, so heck, you've been here before.
I've never been in this building, but I've
You've been up
there.
there.
Yeah, we've been there.
And you've been up there, but I think you're.
Yeah, so I'm with US Light Energy. I'm the developer. Bill's our engineer and Ari's our attorney.
Okay, very good. Nice to meet you all.
Um,
We have a pretty new board since the last time you were here, so I want to go around the room and introduce ourselves. And Mike, you want to start?
Michael McQuaid, Code Enforcement Officer, Town of Canton.
Betsy Hodge, Town Planning Board.
John Casterly.
Siggy Bar.
Eric Barr.
Bill Myers.
Ian McKellar.
And I'm Deb Backus. So I just want to give a little background to this. We started hearing your project in 2020, 2 years ago, right? So the project was reviewed by the St. Lawrence County Planning Board and on 11/13/2020, they for a special use permit and a site plan review. Because it's located within 500 feet of a city, village, or town, and the right of way of existing or proposed county or state high road or highway, and it's a farm operation located in an ag district. So the county planning board disapproved the project at that time for 4 reasons. The proposed access road does not follow the designated right of way, but rather crosses private property. No attempt was made by the applicant to communicate with the property owner to negotiate the plotted access road. The property owner has no interest in offering the access as drawn. So it's my understanding that initially you were looking at the access near the Roses residence, and then you looked at cooperative extension for an access road, and you were denied by both of those, correct? And thirdly, now we're looking at access from Route 68. A
Yeah, so
curb
we
easement.
revised the project, so our access road comes to Mr. Huntley's property.
Yeah.
And our interconnection will go through Mr. Huntley's property. as
Yes,
well.
and you've given us an easement agreement with the Huntleys. Yes, I saw that. Okay, and 2, the attempt was made by the applicant to avoid development on the delineated wetland identified as wetland B on the site plan. And I don't want you to address all these right now. We're going to address them later on as we get going. And 3, no attempt was made by the applicant to avoid development on prime and prime of drained agricultural land. This land has been and continues to be actively farmed. And 4, the development proposes the removal of trees without offsetting the removal elsewhere on the property as specified in the town of Canton solar law. The applicant does not offer any visual buffering between the solar development and the adjacent residential property. And I know you've corrected number 4 with your new site plans. So B&L, our engineers, we hired them shortly after we began with you all. And they've reviewed this project on June 10th, 2021, October 18th, 2021, July 29th, 2022, and September 19th, 2022. The town planning board has looked at the project on 10/27/2020, 11/17/2020, 12/15/2020, 10/26/21, 1/19/2021, and 11/9/2021. So this is like this.
And the county board took it up at a meeting unofficially.
They did.
recently.
did.
Yes.
About the access road, but they stopped that discussion knowing that you didn't have the easement
No.
agreement from,
No,
Ne-
they stopped it because y'all hadn't formally sent a new one over.
okay, so we have been in discussion with the St. Lawrence County Planning Board several times about having them look at your
Yeah.
project yet again. And they said that their original decision remains, and they did not want to see it again, but they were willing to look at the access road. But when you started your discussion, or they started their discussion about the access road, you were there, you were listening in, right? And they stopped because you didn't have that near state DOT.
Well, no, like I said, they stopped because their attorney stated that because it wasn't a formal 239M review, it wasn't
see.
right for them to make a determination on it. So
Okay,
if you wanted them to look at it with the new revised, you would have to do a formal submission to them again.
and what they've consistently
Yeah.
told us is that it would need to be a new project.
Mhm.
Not a revised project.
Okay.
Because I've talked to them on more than one occasion. I know, John, you've talked to them a couple of times as well about reviewing this project yet again. So this project goes on, is proposed to go on 161 Meade Road. It's a 7.845 megawatt solar array project.
Actually, it's shrunk. That's the older plans.
Oh, all right. Is
Wait.
it 6.484?
Yes, ma'am. That's DC.
And it's DC,
That is the DC rating. The AC rating is
5
5.
megawatts.
It's not on, I mean, it's not on Meade Road anymore. That's just the name of the project. It's going through the 68, the County Route 68. Going through the Huntleys. It's not interconnected on Meade Road.
Okay. So if you'd like, why don't you go ahead and do a presentation? Are you ready
Yeah.
for that? Okay,
They designed it, so.
I have your old plans.
Megawatt DC rating.
It's a,
That AC never changed.
AC rating. Oh.
it's a 5 megawatt or 6.484 DC. Yeah. How do you wanna? present that? Okay. You have a new? Yeah.
Yeah,
Back there. Oh, there it is.
It's actually the best spot here, right there.
Can y'all see? You guys all see?
Associated with it, it's like on Route 68.
I have to
Doesn't
come up
change it.
here.
Okay.
Pretty handy, huh?
A little bit.
There you
Kind
go.
of finicky, though. Yeah, I think this one needs to have a little more there.
So on I said, upstairs. I was at church all over.
Pressure with everybody
Well,
watching.
See when we put it on, we're not still.
It doesn't have to be. perfect, you know?
It's good, it's okay.
It does, yeah. Oh, I forgot to introduce the people on the screen. We got Brian Brewer and we have Mike Bernard.
Fingar.
Fingar. Fingar.
Fingar.
Is that right? Fingar?
Oh, my.
Yeah.
So this plan set is the one that we sent you folks
Yes, I
after the formal
email.
submission, the one that BNL reviewed, but I think they looked at this one too, that was part of that. or
Yes.
something. At least they're referred to it. So, I don't know. So I mean, I'm not sure where last everyone has seen the project, but it's pretty similarly cited. The Rose property is right down here, Meade Road's down past here. The wetland complex that the county planning board refers to is these kind of gray blobs over here on the kind of the northwest quadrant of the site. And conservation easement and a lot of the treed areas up here to the north, a little bit past. So this is the old ag field, kind of where most of the field sits. There is some tree removals going up here in this kind of triangle right here. And then on that. The kind of access road that we're discussing is through the adjacent wetland property. And I unfortunately don't have a really great overall aerial. We're gonna have to split it up. Yeah, this is kind of the zoomed in.
That's pretty good up on the top of your access road, great. No, then it's coming down.
Is it? No. Further down? Keep over.
This one.
This one? Yeah, I mean, this just kind of shows the whole alignment of the road. But
You see it
obviously-
up Here.
Yeah, so obviously,
Is the existing factor access.
right, so this is Mr. Huntley's access, he kind of along his treed, kind of southern border of his property, there's an existing farm road there. So we would just be improving that road just minorly with a more sturdy gravel section. And yeah, I mean, really,
Cool for your land. Yeah, if you come in and planning and we are.
yep, I mean, so this is along that the property boundary along with the roses here, this is their property right here. And then this is just gonna be a very, hardy and thick evergreen screening. That we
You've got the
proposed there.
plants up there, right? Because there's some
Yes.
concerns about.
Yeah, so we
plant.
did change some of the plant selections based on, I believe, it was VNL's comments
Okay.
about the suitability of whether or not they be planted, in kind of bottom soil. Can they be wet and thrive? So we changed up some of them. So we have, I think it's a white cedar and white pine, eastern white cedar and eastern white pine in there.
And then you've got some shrubs up there too, don't you?
Typically don't like shrubs.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, there's also white fir in there. So there's fir, cedar and pine. So just the mix is kind of throughout there. And I know, so one of the changes too is that a lot of, so the access road coming down along here is gone, and that's shifted over there. That turnaround loop here is now gone. So a lot of the kind of improvements that were down here in this quadrant, the rose property is gone, along with all the interconnection poles that are now gone. And they're gonna be down, actually all the way on Mr. Huntley's access onto his road. So all those access poles would be all the way down on 68.
Very good.
And one of the concerns that BNL had too was where the inverters are. And so the design has been changed, right, Zach, that all the inverters, instead of being strung throughout the array, they're gonna be centrally located what they call rack mounted, and they'll be located here.
Does
at the
that say,
equipment
it
pads.
doesn't, does it say it on there?
It says it on this plan.
I think there's
Yeah,
a little bit, but
it's-
it's not,
where the
yeah, underground
technology-
electric service.
So it's where the technology's going.
Mhm.
Instead of having string, they used to put them on here, now we do them central, so it's just gonna be like an I-beam with the rack, and they'll just racked right here and then connect into the transformer, so it's.
Very
Yeah,
good.
so they're very far
Yeah,
away from any kind of. So all the equipment, all the transformers and the inverters are all located here at the pads.
Very good.
That's about it.
the
Okay.
site is smaller, it's
The overall footprint is small.
yeah, within the last one.
So,
So we optimized it, the electrical engineers optimized, that's why you saw the DC rating go down. And when the DC rating goes down, that's when we reduce panels, because the DC rating is actually what it's capable of. And AC is what we're allowed to put on National Grid, and there's a whole bunch of other issues, other things we do to overbuild, to capture more sun and things like that, but this one, is shrunk in size and footprint size and panel number.
very good. I looked at your project right from day one when you first came to where we are today, and you've done a lot of work. But I still, I'd like to go over where we are, if that's all right. And Bill, can I ask you to sit over there so
Yeah.
you can,
Sure.
because I'm kind of talking to you, and the board can just
I'll scoot
chime
over.
in anytime.
Just watch the card.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna start with the lease. The lease was there, it was signed in 2/28/2020. So it's compliant.
Mhm.
And I don't think we need any follow-up on the lease. The prime soils, ag valuation, stormwater prevention plant, well, kind of the feature. And the array footprint is made up of 11.4 acres. Prime. I'm sorry, Kayla, did you say something?
Sorry, Deborah.
Okay. Prime if drain was 13.8 acres. And soils of statewide importance was 0.2 acres. And I got that from your revised plans, but it was from 6/14/22, I thought. The feature of our comprehensive plan, section 5, resiliency and sustainability. The townwide recommendation was to promote alternative energies while prioritizing protection of prime farmland. On 11/13/20, the St. Lawrence County Planning Board said prime and prime if drained farmland is present on the proposed site. The town planning board on 11/17/20 also asked that question, and the parcel is not tiled. Is that correct? All of this land is not
Not to
tiled.
my knowledge, no. Yeah, it's not, because it's a nightmare if it is
Okay.
for us.
And Zach, I'm not sure if it was you or Bill that said, you won't do any grading of the parcel. There'll be no pulling of stumps. And is it a federal wetland?
Correct.
And you're gonna use a ground screw system or a driven piles, correct? So can the array be moved any more to avoid prime soils?
So is, and also I think the intention for at least the design of the array is that any displaced soils would have to be stockpiled on site. So we have a little
Yeah.
area shown for that.
Mhm.
Where the array is being situated with the ground screws and the driven piles, that would just kind of displace the soil. It wouldn't, degrade it or remove it from the site, it would kind of just, push it off to the side. And then where there is a little bit of, grading being done for the equipment pads and whatnot, it's very minor. I mean, we could check the location and see, which of the soil groups it's in, but where that
think
that
you
grading is
have it
being done, they'd have
somewhere.
to they'd strip off the topsoil and have to store it on site.
Mhm.
Yeah, and my thought is that misconception are not always true, that the solar systems don't degrade the topsoil. We don't grade, and if anything, they
Understood.
go up, they come out of ag production,
Mhm.
and we do native seed planting.
Yeah,
So essentially we just cut the grass, we don't plow, so over that time, the soil actually regenerates, and it's a temporary project, and when we pull it off, when we decommission it, there's no grading or anything, so they can go right back to forming it the next day. And there's a lot of stuff that incorporates forming and other projects too as well.
okay, very good, thank you. Do you think we need any further follow-up regarding prime soils?
What was the percentage you had?
Prime
Something
soils were 11.4 acres, prime if drained 13.8.
Oh, so 11.4.
It's over 90%.
So it's
of the site.
over, the cutoff was 10 acres, correct?
I don't think we had a 10 acres.
It was 10. No, I thought there was 10 acres of, 10%, okay.
I think that was the more recent St.
Right.
Lawrence County Planning Board.
Okay,
I don't know where else they could move the array.
no,
to avoid it.
Not on this parcel.
So can we say there's no more follow-up for that?
right.
All right. The ag data statement is required because the site is in an ag district, it's ag district number 2. It's not an ag exempt parcel, correct? It's compliant, so we don't need any further follow-up with that. The solar law setbacks, the minimum is 25 feet and 100 feet from residential neighbors. It's compliant. It's 120 feet buffer from the solar array to the residential lot. So I didn't feel we need any more follow-up with that. Chime in. Think of anything. The rule zone law setbacks, the front is 75, the sides are 15 feet, the rear is 30 feet, the frontage is 200 feet with a minimum lot of 1 acre. And it's compliant. The frontage is greater than 200 feet, the front is 120 feet, the side is 44 feet. And the combined signs are 91 feet with a rear of 406 feet. So that's compliant, and I didn't feel we need any more follow-up with that. Fencing, it's required that we have a 6-foot minimum height fence with no barbed wire. It needs to be wildlife friendly with a self-locking gate. The site plans from 6/14/22 show it's a 7-foot wire mesh fence with a 6-inch wildlife gap. There's a vehicle access gate is 18 feet wide and 7 feet tall with a 2-inch wildlife gap. I thought that was acceptable. You all agree? So I didn't feel we needed any more follow-up on that. The transmission lines and interconnections, it's required that they be placed underground. I didn't see where that was on your plans. Where you're in, so I would like to see that on your site plans where the shutoff will be located within the internet interconnection poles, and add a schematic of the interconnections and transmission lines and where the power interconnection is located. I know you've got some stuff up there.
It's on there.
You want to look again and, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, I mean, it's kind of hard to see that, but there it is right here. So this is the intersection with Highway 68. So all the poles are located right there.
Okay, but can you do a schematic with the interconnection cables and how they
Sure.
interconnect.
We have it, it's in the Caesar, National Grid approved it.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then where they're
That's
talking
all I
about the ground breaks, which is, that's called out too, right there.
All right, so you're just gonna, and what about the shut off? Is the shut off?
Yeah, I'm
there?
sorry, so that
Go
the
ahead.
ground operated air
Go
brake
ahead, and it'll be
switch?
closed.
Yeah, that's right there.
Oh, there you go.
Gang operated air brake. Oh. Mhm.
Looking for the shut off. I don't think that's very helpful, are they? A little holders.
That it's on the
And another page coming out.
No, we just don't typically show all the stuff on there because it's on the Caesar and it's just for locations. Planning boards don't typically ask for electrical diagrams, things like that. I mean,
We're special.
You can share.
So why don't you just, you've already got it.
Yep.
On the other plans. So we've got where the power interconnection is located on those site plans, so that's good.
Can I ask what you're reading from?
My notes,
Are they?
these are my
same as the-
notes.
No, that's fine. Are it's all gonna be replicated in minutes? Because I'm taking notes too, but I feel like. I'm
Oh,
missing-
I can just forward them. to you.
That'd be great.
Okay.
We get it right.
Your access road, it's required that it's built along the field edges, the elevation contours, 16-foot width with no impervious materials. And on 11/13/20, the St. Lawrence County Planning Board said the proposed access road does not follow the designated right of way, but rather crosses private property. Access road has been relocated. And you would advise BNL on 9/19/22 that New York State DOT is aware of the project and stage 1 of the PERM 33-COM HWP. I have no idea what that is. Application has been completed. The site plans that were revised in June, because that's the last one that we saw, or I saw. And sheet C-141 and C-530, there's a 12-foot wide pervious road with 2.5-inch stone and geofabric, and a 30-foot wide utility easement and access to parcel containing the solar array. So is it going to be, is it going to be pervious or impervious? Because there's some, you're gonna have both, aren't you?
So. the
Because it's
apron-
confusing. I thought it was confusing on your access road. on
So
the
the
site plan.
apron where it connects onto Highway 68, that has to be asphalt, so that is impervious, but that's gonna be in the state right away. And then everything on Mr. Huntley's property leading into the site is gonna be the pervious gravel section that we're proposing.
So on the, where the solar arrays are going to be located on that parcel, it's gonna be pervious.
Yes, correct.
Got it. And then from State Highway 68 to that parcel where the arrays are going to
Will
be,
also be pervious.
it's gonna
It's gonna be
be,
all the same.
it's gonna, not
Just the
impervious.
apron where you
It's
just
There's
turn
just
in.
an apron that's gonna be
Yeah,
impervious.
on
Oh, thank
the
you.
on the highway, yep.
I
You know how wide that is roughly?
Never the highway easement.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've got 30-foot wide utility easement. That's where it's gonna be impervious. Is that right?
No.
So
No.
the how far off of the edge of the road that asphalt apron will be basically the edge of the state right away. So I
Okay.
don't, that's
So-
probably about 30 feet.
So, yeah, on Mr. Huntley's property, it's impervious. On Mr. Brewer's property, it's impervious.
No,
State
pervious.
right away.
The other way,
Other way.
the other
Yeah,
way
it's-
around.
It's gonna be impervious on the state right away.
Okay, I was a little confused with that. So on 9/19/22, BNL, our consultants recommends an existing condition plan sheet should include the adjacent parcel where the proposed access drive is to be located. And then I looked at your letter from 6/14/22. It was to me and the board, and you said you acknowledge the need for a New York State DOT permit, commercial entrance permit for the improvements needed on State Highway 68. An easement and utility. An access and utility easement has been obtained from the adjacent owner. And on 4/20/22, the easement for the access road was obtained from Dylan and Danley Huntley residing at 297 Post Road, Canton, New York. The Huntley easement allows vehicle access from New York State Route 68. There was an email on 7/11/22 to Bill Sparkman from Thomas Compo regarding requesting that you submit that permit 33-COM HWP. And on 7/14/22, the email from Thomas Compo from New York State DOT to you, Bill Sparkman, said the site distance in both direction is very limited due to horizontal and vertical curve conditions. Please review alternative locations for a safer access location. So where is that permit process for the improvements needed on State Highway 68?
So we're working through that with the DOT.
Mhm.
They're a little slow in corresponding.
Right? You did that
So-
back in July, right?
Yeah, so we're basically, what we need to do is we need to satisfy the conditions for any kind of location geometry.
Yes.
With that intersection of 68. And then once we do, and we go through the design process, we'll forward that approval to you folks.
How long do you think that'll take?
Hopefully not too much longer. Sometimes it can drag a little bit, but
You
as
think
soon as
we'll
we-
get it in the next 30 days?
I would say probably.
They won't
not.
issue a permit until after they get SEQR either.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, that they can go through their design kind of conceptual approval, but they wouldn't be able to issue any permits or final approvals until the board grants secret approval.
That's the entire secret approval.
Yeah, and that's pretty standard.
And I mean, they get to review it as part of. SEQR.
Right, it's coordinated. It's coordinated.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Okay. So I think you've already know from BNL, we'd like a revision of the existing condition site plan sheet to include the adjacent parcel where the proposed access drive is to be located.
Yes. Which I think. Yes, we can definitely have that. Yes.
Do you think that it's not there?
I says everyone's.
Part of it is
Sometimes I
there.
have a habit of not including the survey sheet just because I just assume people have it and every once in a while,
Mhm.
they would like it back in the set. So I think that was a comment.
Okay, so you'll put it back in the
Yep.
set. And you think you can do that within the next couple of weeks?
Absolutely. I mean, I think our intent is after we discuss the
Okay.
comments with the board that we'll issue.
I'm so sorry. That's me.
There you go.
Oh, I like that. green.
Everybody dancing?
Oh, so sorry. Okay. Now where am I? Safety. It's required that you share the information with the fire department and identify the shutdown on the site plans. Right, so that hasn't been done yet.
No, we
Right.
typically do a walkthrough with them after it's constructed before it operates and show them how to operate everything.
After it operates?
We would put them on the seeker involvement agency list as well, so that they can comment on the site plan and the action before it's finalized. Then go through
I
the
think
other
it,
steps.
I think it'd be great if you had a sit down with the fire chief maybe and talk to them with your site plans.
Yeah, typically, I mean,
send
in
it
the
to
past,
them?
we'll mail them site plans and they can provide comments to the board.
Okay.
You know,
They're pretty easygoing people at the fire department. A typical request, and it's a recommendation only from St. Lawrence County Planning Board, is that you put in malware software. Is that something that you'd be willing to do?
we have a third party that manages all that stuff. And I mean, it has to meet National Grid standards, so.
Power. Got anything to add? I know, I'm pretty,
Thorough.
I am very thorough. Right, part of
She's got to send it.
Part of who I am.
I got that on my phone and like.
Signs, the solar law says the sign listing ownership and contact information plus the warning signs. the equipment, signing on the equipment should be 12 by 4 foot max in the zoning law. We need a zoning law, a permit is required for signage. So the site plans show from 6/14/22 on sheet C 530 that is 12 by 12 for contact information, 8 square feet for your warning sign. So I thought that was compliant. You do need to add a sign permit. You know, when you do the special use permit, include the sign permit too. It wasn't on the original application.
It's an effort for those, your office.
It's a-
It'd be easier just to put it on the. Just put it on the special use permit, because then it just won't get bigger.
Is this an application, Mark?
What's that, sir?
Just fill out the application.
Yeah.
It's just fill out the application. Not a big-
We can,
I think. you can. So tree and existing vegetation removal, it's required that you minimize or offset the planting. You're doing 3.05 acres of clearing, correct? And on 11/13/20, and I know it's different. This was St. Lawrence County Planning Board. They recommended the removal of trees be offset elsewhere on the property. And I know you're planting some. How many acres are you planting, do you think?
I don't know if I would quantify that as acre.
Yeah, because I mean, forest density is what matters, stems is what matters more than acreage, right? Because you could have a forest with trees all over the place, or you could have a forest that's this tight,
Right?
so it should be stems,
I don't know what stems are.
sticks, like.
Stems.
How many
How many
trees per acre?
Okay, how many stems and per acre are we talking about?
I think it's a close to 100.
You think it's about 100?
No, not. I missed it. 35 and 20 and 20, it's about 70-ish.
70-ish?
is that acreage and clearing number that you read? Is
No.
that has trees in it or just?
It's just,
No,
it's
it's,
an area,
I
it's
just,
a
it's
blob.
in there somewhere. How much they're clearing.
No, but it says
I
how
just
much-
added them up.
How much the forested area versus
Yeah.
the whole thing?
No, they're over here somewhere.
That'd be
Not on
nice,
this
yeah.
sheet, but on another
No,
sheet.
okay.
Yeah.
See, you know better than I did.
Oh, I haven't looked at
It's about
it.
3.1.
Right here.
Yep.
You
3.1.
got 0.2.
It's
You got it
right
there?
Yep,
3 point what?
2.1. So I think your
3.1.
number
Pretty
is right.
close. All right. So 70 acres are going to offset that, and I don't know, that are 70 stems, excuse me. 70
That doesn't begin
stems.
to offset that.
Huh?
That doesn't begin to.
It
offset.
doesn't begin to offset it. Do you think there's? I
What
don't
is
know
the
where
stem
else you
removal?
put it.
What I've-
on
The rest
there.
of the site is completely true.
Yeah, what I've done in other towns is donated trees to the town for locals to plant on their own property.
Well, that's nice. I'm just looking at right here. You've got trees all around the perimeter, don't you? Didn't I read
Yeah.
that correctly?
Yeah, 70 of them. No,
No, around
No,
the existing.
Around the existing, there's
Already.
existing trees and then you're gonna offset it. So those stems that you're planting aren't just around the roses.
No, it is just around the road. Those-
It
those-
is?
those are the
Visual
proposed.
buffers.
there's nowhere else.
So
to plant.
there's nowhere else that you're planting additional trees. It's
Correct.
just there. Okay. Okay, thank you for that. All right. I'm sorry, this is gonna take a little bit of time. Just bear with me.
Deborah, can I ask you, what would be considered a proper offset then by the town?
I think it's fine. It's fine. Are you guys happy with that? You want more trees somewhere else?
And there's pretty
Okay.
much trees all around there.
Yeah, I think we're all right. Okay. Zoning law 7033, alternative energy systems, the requirements to reduce the impacts on neighbor and property owners. On 11/13/20, the St. Lawrence County Planning Board NBNL's review from 10/18/21 recommended a visual buffering between the solar development and the adjacent residential property. The revised 6/14/22 site plan sheet C180 and C130 shows 2 rows of plant tree buffering the solar array from land owned by James and Pamela Rose, the only residential neighbor. Questions, concerns?
I got lots of concerns.
Go ahead. Is this about the buffer?
Yeah.
All right, talk about it.
The 3 species of trees that you guys have proposed planting there. 2 of them are native, of white pine and white cedar, they're deer candy. The deer are gonna slaughter them. And the third species, the white fir, is not a native tree to the northeastern US. It's a native in the Pacific Northwest. But firs are also very popular with deer because they have soft needles. The bottom line is those three species of trees are not gonna, they're up to as high as the deer can reach when they're standing on their hind legs. There's not gonna be any green. Another thing is where you have your trees planted where it's wet, none of those tree species are gonna survive at all, even if you take away the deer. I've been out there, they're standing in water. The only thing that's gonna survive where those wet areas are is probably like willows and stuff.
That'd be a good idea.
And the only way I see it back around it is for the margins of the solar array to be moved to higher and drier ground. When's the last time you walked that land? I walked it 2 weeks ago. And this is late summer, early fall. And there's lots of areas that you would need good boots or you're getting your feet wet. And the trees cannot survive in that environment.
So you might want to
So what
reconsider
trees
that.
do you suggest we plant?
Well,
Willows.
The other ones though, the other ones, you're saying our other ones are gonna get eaten by deer.
eaten by deer and drowned out.
So which ones would?
On higher ground, deer don't like spruce because they got sharp needles. And there's some other kinds of trees that don't taste good to them.
Don't we have a white spruce?
No,
Typically plant white spruce.
not
Norway
on your
spruce
list.
is-
Typically plant white spruce.
I liked your idea of
Norway
moving it.
pine.
And another thing is,
I don't know if you can to look at it.
one suggestion that would improve the viability of the trees and make the whole thing less of a visual burden for the roses is if the trees were planted tight to the project fence as opposed to tight to the roses property line.
Actually, we have visual renderings that we provided.
Oh, good, I
Yeah.
didn't see those.
And
Gonna ask you for that.
So you're saying you wanna kind of squeeze them in kind of this L shaped kind of area right here?
if your tree line got moved from here to here,
And then maybe up in here.
Yeah, can I grow in the wet?
Yeah, the
spot?
only
Yeah.
negative thing to that is you're reducing
This is-
farmland in the future.
this, well, you can
Mm.
always cut trees.
Well, I'm tearing up,
This
I'm
is-
tearing up soil.
This is really wet.
Right, so the trees then would kind of want to live in this kind of drier, higher area that we kind of are outside of the wetland area.
A black spruce is pretty good for wetland tolerant. I mean, not standing water, but it's pretty good.
But
for
it
wet.
would likely be better for tree survival and for the residents here if the line like went straight across.
Well,
Just something to think about. But you're,
we'll
are
provide
you
visual.
going to guarantee tree survival?
I'll guarantee it. And be in our operation and maintenance plan,
And replanting,
Mhm.
how big are they gonna be when they go in?
the same size as they were when they went in. So I think we're going 6 foot.
I thought I
And
saw
that-
six
and another-
somewhere.
So if I have it, but the thing is, if I move them close to the fence, it's an optical illusion because they're further. If I get them up close to the tree line, I mean, to the property line, you know, it's like looking at this versus looking at that. It's in my face, it's closer, it blocks it more. And I'll get you some renderings. We had renderings from the Roses property done,
Great.
but it's from the older view, so, but I think we submitted those.
No, I didn't see any
It'd have been a
visual
long time
impact.
ago. It'd have been months ago.
Yeah, but I,
No, I looked, there's. no
there's
visuals.
none.
Trust me, I went through.
Yeah, I
all the
have 'em.
files.
I can send them.
With
Perfect,
the
thank
land
you.
sloping up behind the tree line where the solar panels are gonna be, I question that anytime in the 30-year duration of the project, that those solar panels will be hidden from the residents. The trees just won't get big enough fast enough.
I wonder about willows and dogwoods. Even though
Dogwoods up in the tree.
I say it again.
Dogwood's an upland species,
Yeah,
have a lot of
they want it
dogwood.
higher and drier.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and willows. No, I mean, for lack of better words, the trash tree.
They kind of
But they
are.
grow.
They're
But they
early
grow
success-
really
They're
fast.
early successional tree, they're on wetland margin edges.
Mhm.
So they die out once they get some, they choke them out. So no, I mean, it's more of a nuisance than anything.
Mhm.
The only thing you could, I don't even know, like, I don't know my trees that well up here, but it'd be like tamaracks or something to that effect that grow in wetland areas.
Box elders,
What did you say?
box elder, but they're not a very good tree.
I was
either.
gonna say, no,
Eventually, not
They're
that
gonna
many.
fall on you.
Mhm.
Red maples will,
They'll tolerate wet feet.
Well, they won't tolerate
Right.
standing water.
Right.
and they grow in a swamp in Louisiana.
Yeah. but this
So we'll
is-
see.
This is northern New
Yeah,
York.
I mean, I can get with an arborist, I can get geotech studies. I mean, whenever we hire a landscape person, they go and test all that, because they gotta give us a what do you call it, a warranty, right? They give us a warranty on our trees, so.
That'd be great if you could do that.
Can I address the board?
Certainly. Who's that?
Brian? Yeah,
What?
so Cornell Cooperative Extension owns White Pines adjacent to my property. I'd like to invite you people to go look at that and see how much water is standing in that forest. It was just logged, I think, 2 years ago, and it's just surrounded by a beaver pond. There's water all over that.
Thank you. All right, so you'll take a look at that, right? Get it back to us. I'm gonna go on. Solar collector glare. Our policy is that you minimize reflective glare and or glare toward any inhabited buildings on adjacent properties and roads. And on 10/27/20, the planning board minutes says indicated that you're going to use an anti-reflective coating on the solar panels. Therefore, glare is not anticipated. And in 6/10/21, B&L reviewed it and they said they do not feel a glare analysis was necessary given the remote location of a proposed facility. Is that correct as of now? Obviously, I don't think any more follow-up is needed on glare. Noise analysis, our policy is that it be minimized. You completed a sound study by Epsilon on 11/29/21. B&L looked at it on 7/29/22, and they said modeling results that project property lines impact is 42 decibels. It's like a whisper only during construction. And I think you indicated that you would communicate with the adjacent neighbors when construction noise is expected. Is that still correct? Yes. Well, I thought that was. Guys. Okay. Visual impact analysis. You just told me you're going to submit one of those, right, Zach? We don't have it.
Yeah.
So with that visual impact analysis, with the photo simulations, we'd like to also see a view shed analysis.
Like line of sights.
Yeah, I think that's what we usually do. Kayla, are you there? John?
Yep, I'm here.
It's line of sights that we're looking for, right, with the view shed analysis?
I believe they submitted that last year.
I couldn't find it in any of our submissions, and Mike couldn't find it either.
I mean, there's a lot.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of people.
I have
looked
some
at-
files dated November 30th, so I can forward those to you.
Okay, that would be great.
To take a look at, yeah. There's some photos, line of sight diagrams, so I'll pass those along.
We already have that done. Exterior lighting, you've indicated that there'll be no exterior lighting, so there's nothing more that we need to do about that. Our site plans, there was a few things on the site plan that needed to be updated. B&L looked at it on 9/19/22. They said sheet SB1 plans now formally owned by Brian Brewer to be added to the revised plans, and you already agreed with that. There was a letter to the board dated 6/14/22 from Labella. It says a copy of the wetland assessment memo for the project has been included with this submission. I didn't see that. I didn't see that memo. I didn't see an assessment at all of the wetlands.
Yep, they got submitted, but it was, I mean, again, it's just a large submission of information, I think, to Mike, but we can always resend. We can
That would
always
be great.
resend all of the documents into like the latest kind of. folder.
We already talked about, we need the you already have the location of the proposed inverters.
Yes, and they're now all located at the equipment fence now. They're also.
Okay. You need to have your site plans signed by a professional engineer. And I think that's all I had. So you're going to have a professional engineer sign it. You're going to add a schematic of the interconnections and send us that memo about the wetland assessment.
Yes.
Okay. Your O&M plan. The last O&M plan I saw was from 11/21.
From 2021.
11/21, November 21. So there's quite a few things on the O&M plan that need to be updated. So B&L reviewed your O&M plan on 6/10/21, 10/18/21, 7/29/22, and 9/19/22. And they requested that you add your maintenance activities and frequency should be outlined in your revised plan to include the inspection of stormwater structures for the lifetime of the solar facility. Right now, I think it's only for during construction. And hold on, because I know you want to say something.
Oh, no, I don't.
Identify the stormwater practices used on site and identify common issues for each practice. And then there was a letter to the board from Labella on 6/14/22 saying there are no post-construction stormwater practices proposed for this site. The site will be stabilized and reseeded with a native pollinator seed mix upon completion of construction.
I think that's no longer accurate. though.
I have a couple more and then B&L also recommended that you list the responsible parties for undertaking maintenance, including contract details, and submit a copy of the maintenance agreement as a condition of final approval, and also include a map indicating the limits of maintenance for the site operator owner or describe the limits of this maintenance. So now go ahead, Val.
So I think maybe that might have been a response to a comment letter maybe a little while ago. There are some post-construction stormwater practices for the project now at the
I saw that.
B&L's request, so.
I saw you've got swales on there and some felt
It's
stain,
they're like filter strips.
and you've got grass filters.
Yep.
I saw 3 things on there for erosion and sediment.
Only those filter strips are permanent though, right? Yeah,
So on your site plans, I didn't see the location of those grass filter strips.
They're directly adjacent to the storm, the concrete pads. So that's what these two kind of boxy shapes are. And then, I mean, they're basically just like maintained grass areas that
Does it say it on there?
it does. Well, we actually got kind of good. for the-
Okay,
the grading point.
all right. I saw it on your
And
plan.
then, so these are the stormwater, is the
Okay.
grass filter strip. Yep.
All right, so it's only grass filter strips that you're gonna leave in place. The
Yes,
swales
correct.
you're just doing for construction. You have a schematic of the swales in there.
I think really we were just using the silt fences. And. I don't think there's any swales for this one.
I saw swales
Maybe.
somewhere on C-140.
I'm looking.
C-140 is on there.
Okay, yeah. right
Here.
there.
There you
Well,
go.
you know, actually, that one could be removed because that was for the old one. Where we had the road
okay.
down and the.
No
by the
swales.
roses, so I could actually remove that detail.
Okay. So we'd like to see that in your O&M plan.
for the grass filter strips, right? For the-
Yeah,
for the-
outline the maintenance
Yep,
activity,
absolutely.
the frequency and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we're updating that. It's actually on my duties.
That's your job, huh, Pat? All right. Your SWEP. I looked at the revision for 6/22. I thought it was pretty good. It demonstrates the peak rate of runoff will not be increased. B&L reviewed it on 9/19/22, and they suggested that you update it to reflect the layout change presented on those September 19, 2022 drawing set. And the site drawing revised, yeah, but you said you didn't have swales in there, right?
Right.
And you already
So,
have that.
To answer BNL's comment, we'll update the SWIP to reflect this most recent layout. And that was just tag all.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, all right. Your decommissioning plan, you know, there's a bunch of things with the decommissioning plan. BNL looked at it on 9/19/2022. They said an updated decommissioning plan is forthcoming, so it looks like you're working on that now. Is that right?
Yeah, so I have a professional engineer providing an itemized cost estimate based on
On
their
there.
recommendations.
Alright.
And but what happened was I have to update it because of this shrink, the site shrunk. So
Oh,
I should
alright.
have it by, I'm expecting to have it by the end of next week, and then I'll package it all up and we can submit it.
Oh, good. So make sure the terms of the lease are in the decommissioning plan as well, and supporting language of if ownership changes, that you'll notify the board, including the address and how to contact the new owner. I think you're already doing the revising the detailed specific itemized decommission cost estimate. I have evaluation every 5 years. You said it was 3. I thought it was 5. I think it's 5 years.
You know, at 5, but I mean, we can do 5, but I would offer 10 because you have a 25% adder on top of everything.
Well, we were looking at even more frequently to 3, but let's
Yeah.
leave it at 5 because that's what we
Okay.
required of everyone else
All right.
currently.
So,
All right, and then you're gonna add the common issues associated with grass filter strips, right? Okay. Pilot agreements required. Are you doing, where's that at? The pilot
no,
agreement,
we're way too early for that.
okay.
We got to get way down the road before we can talk about pilot.
Community benefit plan still needs to be done too. There's some documents that I didn't see and I think you have them, but I just didn't see them in our submissions. New York State Office of Parks, Recreation and Historic Preservation. I didn't see that.
Ship them.
You should
Yeah, we're
go.
gonna, do just need a no effect letter.
I do. Do you have it?
No, we're in the process of getting.
It is a redo.
It's BNL requested that we get the correspondence.
Oh, okay. No, it did.
You did do it the first time? Because
No,
I
we
never
did not,
saw it.
because it was marked as in
Okay.
in a sensitive area, but we'll
All right.
go through the motion.
Okay, yeah, the online review.
Army Corps of Engineers. I didn't see a letter stating jurisdiction of the wetlands.
There's not, because they could be jurisdictional, but it's deemed a temporary impact. It's vegetated, it's emergent. So it would remain an emergent. On top of that, we would have to have a final site plan. And before we could even submit a joint permit application to the Corps for a nationwide permit.
So I did see the memorandum to Barbara Beal from 2016 regarding federal regulations of solar arrays. I just want to make sure it's not in the state jurisdiction.
Not a DC regulated wetland.
And how do we know
It's not on
that?
the DC map online. Although the DEC did their maps years ago online and they're all publicly reviewed before they would set in stone. So there's no DEC map wetland on this property, so therefore it's not a DEC wetland.
Okay.
DC will also be
DC will have to be-
contacted. They'll be contacted as part of SEQR. So
And
they'll have a chance to affirm that, whether their current online mapping that's available to the public is accurate with respect to this property.
All right.
that in a DC well has to be 12.4 acres.
I saw that it was on the seeker that you, something about New York Army Corps of Engineer.
Is BNL good with that?
Yeah, they didn't say anything about it. BNL.
I think at one point, because of where the access road was, they were potentially looking at disturbance greater than 1/10 of an acre within the federal wetland, which would have required a permit. Since that access road's been revised, they're not proposing greater than 1/10 of an acre anymore. So I don't believe in this case a permit would be required.
You had already you said you submitted that permit to Army Corps of Engineer on July in 2022. That was in your secret part one.
We haven't we wouldn't submit for permit until, you know, the town construction,
Site plan approval, then we can't
if
really-
necessary, right? Under the nationwide permit, you kind of, it's kind of a construction permit, you know, they're, you know,
It's a 45-day review.
Where did I see it? Yeah, right here. Under federal wetlands for part one of the secret,
it'd be one of the ones that we would be
July
as an
2022.
interested agency, right? Right.
Government approvals, funding or sponsorship.
It require one. Right,
So-
it would require one, it didn't mean we have one.
Right.
Oh,
The project.
you've got application date, actual or potential, and you put July
Or
2022.
Potential date, yeah, when we would
Oh,
expect this
all
to
right.
file it.
All right, got it. I just. Okay,
And I think for this project now, since, and as Caleb mentioned, the road no longer goes through that wetland complex, but we are planting trees in the wetlands, and to the Army Corps' you know, great benefit, that is a permitted activity, so we would need coverage on the nationwide permit for that.
okay. So that pervious drive that you're putting in on the Huntley's
Yeah,
land,
that's,
do we need something from DEC regarding that pervious access drive?
yes, the VNL had requested that we get concurrence from the regional office.
Okay.
That they confirm with the central office that it is a previous drive section.
Do you have that?
I have not gotten that yet, but I will get that to you first if I get it.
All right.
It wasn't designed in accordance with DEC regs.
Yes, okay.
So you're saying we don't need a DEC letter stating no jurisdiction?
Right, and we do.
I think that's what
In
Caleb
the
said.
wetland memo that we supplied and get resupplied to you, we kind of go through that.
Okay,
Thought process.
thank you for that. Egg and markets. I think you submitted a notice of intent to NYSERDA for the NYSERDA process in October of 2021. Is that correct? Did I read that correctly?
We know we can't submit that till after we get seeker and town approval,
Okay,
so that was a anticipated
all right,
box, I guess.
all right.
We may need to update our anticipated.
Yeah,
It's been a little-
it makes
a
it
little while.
confusing.
Or mark them.
So you're not gonna do that until after seeker.
We can't, yeah, the two things that are required are seeker approval and then the town local land use approval.
Okay. And then the town of Canton building permit, we already talked about that. Your application that's on file is from 2020, so you should probably update that. That permit application and include the signage permit. Yeah. You guys, anything else?
I got one question on Route 68. So I'm not understanding, there's the DOT doesn't like or has a problem with how you intermix with Route 68 because there's a site, there's a distance problem.
It's
Is
a
that-
cur-
is
it's
that
a
correct?
curve.
So-
I just drove by it
There's a
today.
big curve there. Is that where that barn is? Right by that- So how's that gonna get figured out?
So I mean, we can coordinate with the DOT and see if there are mitigation kind of options that we can pursue with them. The other thing is to kind of understand what this access road actually is. And it's very limited use. We're talking like maybe like 5 or 6 trips a year, probably something like that.
During
just to pick up truck.
construction.
And
Right,
it's-
but the construction.
we
look
could
at
try-
I'm
and during
just thinking-
construction, we'd have flaggers and, you know, that kind of thing, which is necessary, as you can see, as you drive down all the roads up in this area. You have flaggers in the cones and stuff, so.
Basically a traffic plan.
And that flaggers and cones and business, that would be for the duration of the construction.
Yes, sir. That'd be required by the DOT for their permit. Now, if it gets beyond that, and obviously we're still in discussions with the DOT, we can also discuss, you know, moving the location of the driveway, so. But that's kind of a secondary option.
And where would you move it? Further south?
I think further north, actually, along the straight, because there's 2 curves on 68 there, so we kind of try to find the best kind of location for it. But obviously that would encumber Mr. Huntley more, we would look to avoid that. as much as possible.
Going through the middle of this field.
Thanks.
So if you do that, let's do it. Any other questions? You got another question?
No, I just wondered, going through Mr. Huntley's land, what is that land? Is that ag
It's-
land?
Yeah,
Is
it's
that-
tractor-
It's
it's existing
tractor road
drive.
anyway.
Oh, farmer.
It's
Yeah,
an
the
existing dirt,
yeah,
dirt
tractor.
kind of
tractor road.
tractor ride.
You're
Okay.
talking
your current access, but if you moved it, it would go into further into his
Right.
ag.
Correct.
Land, right.
I think
We
we
can
pretty
run
much
on
follow,
the
I think
edge,
we
but-
pretty much follow it.
No,
The current road alignment.
We come up and cut over.
Yeah,
But the
the
coast is
ground
cut
is
over and
over
it is existing tractor land.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. I said not coming out here, but getting all the way up here and then coming across and then making, yeah, okay, got it.
Other questions? You ready to go into speaker part 1? Any other comments from you guys?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a couple of things, an update. So we have submitted an application to the St. Lawrence County IDA for pilot. But like a lot of things we talked about tonight, they require finalization of a little bit more finalization of the system approval by the town board, by the town planning board, in terms of size and impacts in order to finalize those. I'm also in receipt of the draft host community agreement, which is also contingent on size and finalization of the plan to some extent. So I think there's a lot of items that we understand that are required and that will be completed, but until we move forward on the planning board side, we're limited on what we can, how much we can advance those.
Sure. Okay. Any other comments? All right, moving on. So are we changing the name of the action of the project to County Route 68 instead of 161 Meade Road?
Would suggest we keep that the same, consistent with the property address the array is hosted on.
So we leave it at 161 and not put in County Route 68. So the project location is 161 Meade Road, Town of Canton, St. Lawrence County, New York, 13617. A description of the proposed action is the applicant. Are you still US Light Energy or are you Labella?
No,
No,
that's
that's
our
a- that's
engineer
the-
consultant. Labella's our consultant.
Oh, so
We're
you're
US
not,
Light Energy.
you're US Light Energy, you're not Labella. Are you the Chasen group too?
They got bought by
So we,
Labella.
that's how long it's been. It's been a couple of years. We got
Okay.
bought out.
Okay. Well, it's,
So what's the current name?
It's Labella.
It's-
US Light Energy.
Oh,
we're still US Light Energy, but it's a sub.
No,
No,
Labella's just
connected
the project
Labella-
engineer.
All right, got it. Okay. US Light Energy is proposing construction of a 7.489 megawatt.
6 went down.
Oh, so you got to change it on,
yeah,
this,
we'll
right?
change our.
It's gonna be 6.484 megawatt direct current. Yes, that's what you said, right?
Sounds right.
Direct current solar energy farm, ground mounted photovoltaic. Voltaic, thank you, or PV system on a portion of approximately 54.8 acres. And the tax ID number is there. Located on Meade Road in the town of Canton, St. Lawrence County, New York. The project area is undeveloped. The northern portion is treed and the remainder is used as an agricultural field. The proposed solar array will be located on the southern portion of the parcel in the existing field, minimal tree clearing required. The remainder of the site will be left undeveloped. Site access will be provided through the adjacent parcel and the tax ID is there to state Highway 68 along an existing farm road. An access and utility easement has been provided by the landowner. The proposed action will involve approximately 28.5 acres of physical ground disturbance, including installation of panel poles, utility line trenching, equipment pads, entrance, access roadway, mass grading, laydown areas, and limited tree clearing. The New York State Department of Environmental Conservation has determined that solar panels do not constitute impervious surface for stormwater management purposes. In addition, the project will utilize the New York State DEC approved pervious roadway section. As such, the proposed action will result in less than 0.1 acre of new impervious area. And that's that concrete apron that you talked about.
That's the equipment pad.
Yeah, the equipment pad. Any questions or concerns about the description? Okay, name of the applicant is USLE Canton Meade LLC. Is that still right? Okay. And the email is still right, scott@aspenenergy.com. Okay. It's the address, well, you can see the address. I'm not gonna go over all that. Project contact is William Sparkman from Labella Associates. And his address is there. Property owner is Brian Brewer, 966 Howardville Road in Canton. Maine. Any questions about page 1?
Do you need to include Huntley on that?
Say it again. Great, I
In
do.
other words, because Huntley is going to be added, the easement is going to.
That'd be part of the easement.
That's
Oh, so
part of the
because that's a
easement.
separate section.
Yeah, and that's we have that easement agreement
Right.
from the Huntleys, and I
Got
don't
it.
think it belongs in here because it's not part of the solar
Okay,
array.
I just didn't know. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So government approvals. So we have city council, town board of village trustees is no. City, town or village planning board of commission is yes, it's us, town of Canton Planning Board for the SEQR road review, the site plan and the special use permit, and we are looking at that in 2022, not 2020. Okay, that's the application. Wait, is that the application date? We did October 2020. No, I don't think we looked at this in October 2020. Oh, we did. That was the first time. 2
Wow.
years ago.
Mhm.
Here we go. City, town, or village zoning board of appeals is no. Other local agencies is a no. County agencies is yes. It's St. Lawrence County for 239 referral. Is that the IDA?
County planning.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. And that was done November 2020. Regional agencies, there's none. State agency is New York State DEC. Project review is Egg and Markets for a notice of intent, and NYSERDA for project funding, and New York State DOT for commercial entities. And we kind of know where those are at, right? And we've talked about that. And federal agencies is Egg and Markets, and you're going to do that from that, right? Coastal resources, there's none. Any questions about Part B government?
You want to throw in the fire department?
Oh, you should have the fire department in there. Yeah, good idea, thank you. So that'll be a regional agency or a city town, wait a minute,
Other local agencies.
D.
Wouldn't it
D,
be?
yeah,
Yeah, D. other
we
local
add the
agencies.
fire
Yeah.
department.
Do you know which district they're?
That might be in priorities.
No.
Right on the town.
Canton.
Brian, what fire district are you in?
Brian Brewer. What fire district are you in? Are you
Hello?
Canton? Are you Canton Fire District, Canton Fire Department?
It's Canton, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Planning and zoning, C1. Will administrative or legislative adoption or amendment of a plan, local law, ordinance, rule, or regulation be the only approvals which must be granted to enable the proposed action proceed? And the answer is no. C2, adopted land uses. A, do any municipally adopted city, town, village, or county comprehensive land use plan include the site where the proposed action would be located? The answer is yes. If yes, does the comprehensive plan include specific recommendations for the site where the proposed action would be located? And the answer is no. If is the site of the proposed action with any local or regional special planning district in the designated state or federal heritage area, watershed management plan, or other? And the answer is no. Is the proposed action located wholly or partially within an area listed in an adopted municipal open space plan or an adopted municipal farmland protection plan? And the answer is yes. The site parcel is located within St. Lawrence County Ag District 2.
Now, are there specific plans though adopted by the team, just sticking to the strict letter of the question?
I think we're looking at the letter of the question, but that's
Because-
me again.
Because the landowner has the right to take himself out of the ag district, right?
I don't know the answer to that, but just the question is adopted,
Every 8 years.
adopted farmland protection plan and adopted open space plan. Does the town of Canton have either of those?
We have a municipal, don't we have a municipal farmland protection plan?
The county does.
The county does. Mhm.
Okay, maybe yes or no, we might check on.
And they just, I know that St. Lawrence County was just looking at ag districts and they eliminated some residences from the ag district, but I don't know about this one in particular. As far as I know, no. Any other questions about C2? All right, moving on. C3, zoning. Is the site of the proposed action located in a municipality with an adopted zoning law or ordinance? And the answer is yes, it is in the rural zone, and we know it's is the use permitted or allowed by special or conditional use permit, and it is indeed. C, is the zoning change requested as part of the proposed action? And the answer is no. C4, existing community services. In what school district is a project site located? It's Canton Central School District. What police or other public protection forces serve the project area? We have Canton Police Department, but isn't it the sheriff?
Sheriffs and state
Yeah.
police.
Sheriffs and state police.
So you're gonna change that to sheriff, St. Lawrence County Sheriff and State Police and New York State Police, right? What fire protection emergency medical services serve the project site? Canton Fire and Rescue. What parks serve the project site? Taylor Park, Prairie Mills State Park, Canton Park, Glen Meal State Forest, and Taylor Creek State Forest. Where's Glen Meal?
It's up here.
Pierpont.
Okay, I've never heard of that. All right, any questions about C? Okay. Comments, questions, concerns? We good with C? Moving on to D, project details, D1, proposed and potential development. What is the general nature of the proposed action? It's a utility, it's a solar facility. Total acreage of the site of the proposed action, total acreage to be is 54.8 acres. Total acreage to be physically disturbed is 28.5 acres. And total acreage, project site, and any contiguous properties owned or controlled by the applicant or project sponsor is 56.8, because they're adding those 2 acres for the easement. You guys have a comment or question?
There might be a change in the.
Yeah,
amount
there's
of
a change
physical
in that
disturbance.
site.
Say it again.
Sorry, yeah, there might be a change in the amount of physical disturbance.
Okay,
but
what
the
is
change
that?
would be downward. Zach's gonna confirm, I think on the front.
Yeah, because we stumped the site. And at the old one, it's-
Are you freezing over there?
Oh, we're good. He's cold.
I'm cold. It's just coming in. I think we're
Yeah.
dipping. You talked about it earlier, didn't you?
The first grade script.
First big also. It's 25.
We can go ahead and sign. I mean,
We'll change it either way.
We'll come back to that, Zach,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
wanna. What does it say?
It's 28.5 on there, but that's.
that's a total. That's the total.
We have some changes to make anyways, so.
Yeah.
All right, so C is, you'll just change it when you revise this. Is the proposed action an expansion of an existing project or use? And the answer is no. D, is a proposed action a subdivision or does it include a subdivision? And the answer is no. E, will the proposed action be constructed in multiple phases? And the answer is no. It is a 5-phase project though, right? But it's all,
We phased the construction of it. It's one project.
it's one
The
project
job-
over 6 months. Is that right?
Total time to build, but yeah, we phased them.
Yeah,
Yeah, except the
okay.
phases.
G, does the proposed action include new non-residential construction, including expansion? And the answer is yes. There is 1,092 solar panels. The largest proposed structure is 9 feet high. Wasn't it 7? No, it wasn't. 11 foot 9 inches wide and 29 feet 3 inches in length. Is that still right?
That's usually about 9 feet max. The fixed till.
That's what you have.
Okay.
9 feet max. I think I was thinking of
Yeah,
your,
I'm trying to see the
Your
total number of
fence was
panels. per
7
page
feet.
drop, the number of panels.
Do you think you have less, was that the number of panels on there? I didn't see the number. No.
But I have it.
Okay, let me know. Approximate extended building space to be heated or cooled, there's none. H, does a proposed action include construction or other activities that will result in the impoundment of any liquid such as creation of a water supply, reservoir, pond, lake, waste lagoon, or other storage? And the answer is no. Any questions or concerns about G1? That proposed and potential development, no? Okay, D2, project operations. A, does the proposed action include any excavation, mining, or dredging during construction, operations, or both? And the answer is no. B, would the proposed action cause or result in alteration of, increase or decrease in size of, or encroachment into any existing wetland, water body, shoreline, beach, or adjacent area? And the answer is yes. Identify the wetland or water body which would be affected. And we have proposed solar panel racking and fencing will be placed in wetland area designated B, over which the Army Corps of Engineer has jurisdiction. Tree plantings for screening will be placed in the wetland area approximately 0.015 acres for total fill. Is that still correct? 2, describe how the proposed action would affect that water body or wetland, for example, excavation, fill, placement of structures or alterations of channels, banks, and shorelines. Indicate extent of activities, alterations, and additions in square feet or acres. Solar panel racking and fence foundations will be placed in the wetland area. The Army Corps of Engineers does not view installations of such foundations as a disturbance in its jurisdictional areas, provided such activities are conducted in a manner consistent with their regulations. Tree planting for screening will comply with Army Corps of Engineers nationwide permit regulations, approximately 0.015 acres total fill. And we saw that memorandum from 2016 that talks about this, and they agreed with this synopsis. 3, will the proposed action cause a result in disturbance in bottom sediment? The answer is no. 4, will the proposed action cause a result in the destruction, removal of aquatic vegetation? And the answer is no. C, will the proposed action use or create a new demand for water? And the answer is no. D, will the proposed action generate liquid waste? And the answer is no. Will the proposed action disturb more than 1 acre and create stormwater runoff, either from new point sources like ditches, pipes, swales, curb, gutters, or other concentrated flows of stormwater, or non-point sources like sheet flow during construction or post-construction? The answer is yes. How much impervious surface will the project create in relation to total size of the project parcel? It is less than 0.1 acre of impervious surface. And most of that is that apron. Thank you. And it's a total of 54.8 acres is the parcel size. Describe the types of new point sources. There's none. Where the stormwater runoff will be directed is going to be directed to on-site surface water in the wetlands. If the surface water is identified receiving bodies or wetlands, and the answer is on-site wetlands. Will stormwater runoff flow to adjacent properties? The answer is no. And we saw that SWEP report where there's no increase in runoff at all. Does the proposed plan minimize impervious surfaces, use pervious materials, or collect and reuse stormwater? And the answer is yes. F, does the proposed action include or will it use on-site 1 or more sources of air emissions, including fuel, combustion, waste, incineration, or other processes or operations? And the answer is yes. APS identify mobile sources during project operation, and they are service and maintenance vehicles. 2, stationary sources during construction. Again, emissions from construction vehicles. And stationary sources during operations, there are none. G, will any air emission sources named in D2F above require a New York State air registration, air facility permit, or Federal Clean Air Act, Title IV or Title V permit? And the answer is no. H, will the proposed action generate or emit methane? And the answer is no. I, will the proposed action result in the release of air pollutants from open air operations at processes such as quarry or landfill operations? And the answer is no. J, will the proposed action result in a substantial increase in traffic above present levels or generate substantial new demand for transportation facilities or services? And the answer is no. K, will the proposed action for commercial or industrial projects only generate new or additional demand for energy? And the answer is no. Hours of operation are going to be Monday through Friday, 7 to 7, and Saturday, 7 to 7 for construction, and then 24/7 for operations. M, will the proposed action produce noise that will exceed existing ambient noise levels during construction? And the answer is yes. Okay, guys, this is the teacher in me. That's anything for us to think about? No? Okay. Temporary noise that exceeds local ambient levels may occur during construction, but would be limited to 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday during the construction period. Noise during operations will be produced by inverters and transformers during daylight hours. Operational noise would not exceed ambient noise levels at the nearest receptor. And we saw that sound study. It's like a whisper. 2, will the proposed action remove existing natural barriers that could act as a noise barrier or a screen? And the answer is yes. The project would require the removal of approximately 3.4 acres of trees. I thought it was 3.0.
3.1.
Yeah, so you're gonna change that, right? Is it 3.4 or 3.1? Okay,
But I'd like to add, we're also adding screening trees that'll buffer sound as well.
yes, it will. Absolutely.
Get all the points I can.
I don't think you need to worry about your points. That. And will the proposed action have outdoor lighting? And the answer is no. O, does the proposed action have potential to produce odors for more than 1 hour per day? And the answer is no. P, will the proposed action include any bulk storage of petroleum or chemical products? 185 gallons and above ground storage, or any amount in underground storage? And the answer is no. Q, will the proposed action commercial, industrial, and recreational projects only use pesticides, herbicides, insecticides during construction or operation? And the answer is no. R, will the proposed action commercial or industrial projects only involve or require the management or disposal of solid waste, excluding hazardous material? The answer is no. S, does the proposed action include construction or modification of a solid waste management facility? And the answer is no. T, will the proposed action at the site involve the commercial generation, treatment, storage, or disposal of hazardous waste? And the answer is no. Any questions about, I don't know what number that one. D, project details. Any questions or concerns about D?
Won't be using Roundup or anything like that, or anything.
There was a question about oil. Is there any issues with oil dripping from inverters or anything like that?
No oil in
Or
inverters.
oil? There's no
Maintenance of the
concern.
batteries is when you get into those issues.
Okay,
The batteries typically contain significant, new cars significant.
but we don't have that.
No, we don't do batteries. No.
Yeah,
But
no.
just in the
okay,
future.
thank you. E, site and setting of proposed action. E1, land uses on and surrounding the project site. A, existing land uses, and it's forest and it's rural and it's agricultural. To the southwest of the project site, there are 2 rural parcels. The existing use of the project site is agricultural with forest surrounding it. So the next part is land use and cover types of the project site. They don't add up. I added
Yes, I
them up.
think I
They
think I
don't add
know.
up.
understand what Green wants to see from that chart, so I will update that. chart.
We want it to be 54.8 or 54 point, whatever, how many acres you said here,
Agree with whatever they
54.8,
decide.
right? It needs to add up to that, and the changes should be about 0.
Yep.
We can't lose half an acre. Okay,
Yep.
so you'll change that. All right, C, is the project site presently used by members of the community for public recreation? And the answer is no. D, are there any facilities serving children, the elderly, people with disabilities, schools, hospital, licensed daycare center, group homes within 1,500 feet of the project site? I wish I had a water for you. Do you have a water? Okay, and the answer is no. 1,500 feet. E, does the project site contain an existing dam? And the answer is no. F, has the project site ever been used as a municipal, commercial, or industrial solid waste management facility? Or does the project site adjoin property which is now or was at one time used as a solid waste management facility? And the answer is no. G, have hazardous waste been generated, treated, and or disposed of at the site? Or does the project site adjoin property which is now or was at one time used to commercially treat, store, and or dispose of hazardous waste? And the answer is no. H, potential contamination history. Has there been a reported spill at the proposed project site, or have any remedial actions been conducted at or adjacent to the proposed site? And the answer is no. Is the project site within 2,000 feet of any site in the New York State DEC environmental site remediation database? I don't know why that was answered, but the answer was no. Yeah, didn't have to answer that one. Any questions about E1? Questions or concerns? All right, E2, natural resources on or near the project site. What is the average depth to bedrock on this project site? Is greater than 6.67 feet. Are there bedrock outcroppings on the project site? The answer is no. The predominant soil type is muskellunge, silty clay loam, 53.1%, pyrites fine sandy loam, 22.9%. I don't know, how do you say that? Calura and pyrites soils is 11%. D, what is the average depth to the water table on the project site? The average is 2.46 feet. Drainage status of the project site is well drained is 22.9%, moderately well drained 11.6%, and poorly drained is 65.1%. So it's mostly poorly drained soils. F, approximate proportion of proposed action site with slopes, 0 to 10% is 94% of the site, 10 to 15% is 5%, and 15% or greater is less than 1% of the site. G, are there any unique geologic features on the project site? And there are none. H, surface water features. Does any portion of the project site contain wetlands or other water bodies, including streams, rivers, ponds, or lakes? And the answer is yes. 2, do any wetlands or other water bodies adjoin the project site? And the answer is yes. If yes, either 1 or 2 above. If then answer these questions. Are there any of the wetlands or water bodies within or adjoining the project site regulated by any federal, state, or local agency? And the answer is yes. They are federal water wetlands, and they're about 6.3 total acres. Is that right? 6.3 acres. All right. Are any of the above water bodies listed in the most recent compilation of the New York State Water Quality Impaired Water Bodies? And the answer is no. Is the project site in a designated floodway? No. Is the project site in a 100-year floodplain? No. Is the project site in a 500-year floodplain? The answer is no. Is the project site located over or immediately adjoining a primary, principal, or sole water aquifer? And the answer is no. Identify the predominant wildlife species that occupy or use the project site. We have our typical St. Lawrence County species, our white-tailed deer, our raccoon, our deer mouse, our coyotes, our red-tailed hawk, and there's probably a gazillion others. And does the project site contain a designated significant natural community? And the answer is no. O, does the project site contain any species of plant or animal that is listed by the federal government or New York State as endangered or threatened, or does it contain any area identified as habitat for an endangered or threatened species? I don't have that official letter from saying that there's no endangered or threatened species on this land.
We do from the state natural heritage, we do have that.
Oh, what did it
Just
say?
after you talk, I think you're talking about Parks and Rec. That's for the question.
I got an iPad correspondence from USFWS, is
Fish and
that
Wildlife
Fish and Wildlife Services, you have that?
We'll make sure we get all that.
But you have something for right now?
We can do it.
We have to update it every year.
Okay, what does
So
it
they're
say
good.
for right now? What, are there any, can we see that? Because,
Oh, no, I was just gonna say that O and P is filled out by the EAF mapper program.
yeah, so
Those
what,
answers weren't selected by us.
yeah, what does the MAPPR program say?
So-
It says no.
It says none, okay, but you follow up with that,
Yep.
Fish and Wildlife. Okay. Does the project site contain any species of plant or animal that is listed by New York State as rare or as a species of special concern? And you're saying no. Is the project site or adjoining area currently used for hunting, trapping, fishing, or shell fishing? And the answer is no. There's no hunting going on in that land?
She was hunting there this morning.
There's a blind in the field.
Ryan,
Is this the rooster hunting here this morning?
Ryan, are you there? Ryan Brewer?
It's private use though.
You think it's private use?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Any hunting or trapping on your land?
Pardon?
Anybody use your land for hunting or trapping right now?
No,
You're not hunting on it?
no.
Oh, we've got the roses saying somebody's out there every morning.
The neighbors to the south hunt. We know that.
It's his son.
His son-in-law hunts it every day.
The neighbors to the south, they hunt.
Okay. Your son-in-law uses it for hunting, Brian, or no?
No.
Okay, well, I can't go by anything more. Any concerns about E2, guys? E2 was natural resources on or near the project site.
Can we speak at the end? Because that's kind of how I read the minutes, and we couldn't speak until the end.
So public, we're gonna have a public
Okay,
meeting,
I'm
or
good.
we'll have a public
If
forum,
the answer is no, it's no.
yeah.
Okay.
Then it says if it's yes, how it affects the proposed action, affects that use, well, it's private technically, so they can't do it anymore. I mean, it's
Right.
like,
He's the one that's bringing this here.
Right,
It's his land.
I understand, that.
No, I'm just. explaining.
Yeah.
yeah.
You guys
So
are
it-
gonna want shooting there.
That might affect the families.
All right,
Thanks.
E2, are we ready to go on to E3?
Anybody-
Designate, all right, are we ready? All right, designated public resources on or near the project site. A, is the project site or any portion of it located in a designated agricultural district certified pursuant to Ag and Markets Law, Article 25-AA, Section 303 and 304, and the answer is yes. And the district is St. Lawrence County 002. B, are agricultural lands consisting of highly productive soils present? The answer is yes, it's plus or minus 13 acres, and the source is New York State Ag and Markets Master List. C, does the project site contain any or all, or part of, or is substantially contiguous to a registered national natural landmark? And the answer is no. Is the project site located in or does it adjoin a state listed critical environmental area? And the answer is no. E, does the project site contain or is it substantially contiguous to a building, archaeological site, or district which is located on the National or State Register of Historic Places, or that has been determined by the Commissioner of New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation to be eligible for listing on the State Register of Historic Places? You're saying no, but you need to give me that SHPO letter, and you have it, right? And
We're in
it
the
says no.
process of getting it.
Okay. F is the project site or any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites on the New York State Historic Preservation Office Archaeological Site Inventory? And the answer is no. G, have additional archaeological or historic sites or resources been identified on the project site? And the answer is no. H, is the project site within 5 miles of any officially designated and publicly accessible federal, state, or local scenic or aesthetic resources? And the answer is yes, it's Prairie Mills State Forest. And the nature of or basis for this designation is that it's a state forest, and the distance between the project and the resources is 2.42 miles. Is the project site located within a designated river corridor under the Wild Scenic and Recreational Rivers Program 6 NYCRR 666? And the answer is no. Any questions about E3, designated public resources on or near the project site? Okay. I'm looking for a motion for approval,
I'd like to add, I've got some clarifications to the first one for you.
please. Which one? Which
The
section?
DC size,
What?
the DC size, the current size, the size of the project.
Oh, yeah.
It is 6.739.
Mhm. Well, it wasn't right in any place. You'll make sure that all your documents are all saying 7.3.
6.739.
Thank you.
And then the total panel count.
Yeah.
12,480.
12,480.
480.
That's a big difference.
That went up.
Wait a
I
minute.
think that-
Are those panels? You had rackings
Individually, we had
before.
racks.
Yeah, racks.
Yeah, you had racks
talking about
before. So you're gonna change that to panels, right?
Let's
I
still-
like
let's still-
panels better.
24 panel rack.
We had 1,000 before, 1,092
So it's not
before
big.
racks.
That's-
Well,
that's right.
So we're there.
480. Okay. Anything else? That,
Not that I- And the panel heights, max panel height is 8.2 feet, but you're good on 9.
8.2 feet high.
Yes.
Okay.
So visibility is different.
All right. Yeah, it is.
It's a big much difference if it's a hill though.
All right.
Yeah.
Are we good then? Any other corrections, concerns? Okay,
I'll make a motion.
we're good. Yes. Second.
We need to say a contingent to making the changes.
Absolutely.
I'll second.
Second, you want to say contingent? on
I'll make a motion to approve contingent on making the
the change?
No, that we asked for.
Okay. And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So that's done. Speaker part 1. As soon as you get it in, then we can send it out, right? All right,
Yeah.
then your time starts. All right, hold on.
So we go ahead.
Let's do the resolution. You ready? Close action for Meade Road Solar Project. Resolution declaring the intent as the town of Canton Planning Board to act as lead agency. Whereas the town of Canton Planning Board is reviewing a site plan application for the proposed Meade Road Solar Project located at 161 Meade Road in the town of Canton, St. Lawrence County, New York. And whereas the project has been classified as a type 1 action as defined by the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQR, and 6 NYCRR Part 617.4. And whereas it is the intent of the Canton Town Planning Board to assume the role of lead agency for purposes of conducting a SEQR assessment of the project. And whereas Part 1 of a full environmental assessment form has been prepared by the applicant and reviewed by the Town of Canton Planning Board, and will be circulated to all involved and interested agencies for purposes of establishing the Town of Canton Planning Board as lead agency in accordance with 6 NYCRR Part 617.6E. Now therefore be it resolved and determined that the Town of Canton Planning Board will send said Part 1 of the full environmental assessment form and associated site plan to the attached list of interested involved agencies under cover of a notice of intent to establish lead agency letter for purposes of establishing lead agency status under SEQR, and is further resolved that the chair of the Town of Canton Planning Board, together with the town attorney and BNL, are hereby authorized to take all action, serve all notices, and complete all documents required to give full force and effect to this determination. The question of the adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly put to a vote, and upon roll call, the vote was aye.
Aye.
Aye. So I hereby certify that the resolution was adopted today and is recorded in the meeting minutes of the Town of Canton Planning Board.
Number 8, this is about
Huh?
resolution number 8,
This is resolution number 8.
just me.
2022-0,
Okay,
if you want to put it at the top.
it's not, oh, I only have a pencil.
Oh, I have a pen. I'll do it.
Okay,
I'll get it.
Just me.
now you can say, what did you want to say?
Who's on the involved agency list?
Oh, I don't have that in front of me. Kayla,
Is it copied in the?
Yeah.
hold on, can you go over it? Can you say them all?
Yep, 1 second. I'm just pulling it up right now.
Oh, Kayla, I have it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
So here's a list of the involved agencies. Mary Ann Ashley, the town supervisor, Terry Tile, regional permit administrator from New York State DEC Region 6. NYSERDA in Albany. Judy Littrell, senior environmental analyst from New York State Department of Ag and Markets. Ken Bibbins, director of New York State DOT Region 7 in Watertown, New York. Jason Hotenhauer.
That's an hour.
You got it.
Thank you.
That's it.
Director of St. Lawrence County Planning Board, the New York State Historic Preservation Office in Waterford, New York, the St. Lawrence County IDA, St. Lawrence County Soil and Water Conservation District, Robert Crow, the Chief of the Canton Fire and Rescue, Ronald Burke of Canton Central School District, and we also have Bridget Brown, who is Chief New York Application and Evaluation Section of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And that's it. Does that answer?
It does, thank you.
You're welcome. And you can have this if you want. You can have it. I know you want it. I can see it.
I have my documents.
Do we have more than one of these?
The
resolutions? Yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
I'll give that to you. Are we done? All right, we're done with your project
I have one more.
for now,
I'm sorry.
until we get our 30. I need a date.
I just want to loop back on the county referral. aspect. I understand that they've relayed a position to you, that they don't necessarily need to see it again.
They said they would not see it again.
I guess for purposes of the record, could the town make the formal referral and then have them formally reject it if that's what they want to do?
Then we can do that.
I
Yeah.
think I just.
But they have,
ducks in a row.
they have formally, not formally, but informal. Yeah, can do that. Can you do that?
Mike.
Mike,
I can do that.
thank you. Mike.
I can,
Michael did
but
that.
I think
I
it would
can
make
do it.
more sense for Mike to do it.
I can do it.
So how long is it gonna take you to revise that secret part 1?
No, that will give a time frame, end of the week.
All right, so BNL will probably be next week sometime.
Yep.
So we're looking at,
Last week in November.
thank you, the last week of November, public hearing. Shall we look at that?
So we want to schedule the meeting after the 35-day secret review, right?
30 days.
You gotta have
Like,
30.
throw extra 5 in there.
I already,
Yeah, you know, what I
last week in
mean?
November.
For mailing and whatnot.
After Thanksgiving or the week of Thanksgiving? Can we
after
do it?
Thanksgiving.
It is after Thanksgiving?
Yes, ma'am.
The 24th, I believe, or the 25th is the actual
I
Thanksgiving
looked at the
day.
28th, 29th, and 30th.
So what works for everybody? Let's see what day of the week was.
We're
Well-
looking at that week.
Yeah, we could keep it. We could
After Thanksgiving.
Yes,
28th or the 29th. What works for you?
Monday's good.
Monday's good.
Well, I gotta
Eric,
do the
Eric,
every
with the
other.
third.
I gotta do the every
All
other.
right, figure it out.
Originally, I was told, you guys keep changing the date.
Yeah, Monday,
I know we keep, because we've had so many projects.
Ever anymore.
28th I could do, 28th or 29th.
All right,
I cannot do Tuesday, so.
okay. Does the
Okay.
28th
I
work
can
for you? Does the 28th work for everybody?
Yes.
We're
Probably.
retired. I know, I love being retired.
Not
What time?
What time do you want it?
That's fine.
5 or 6.
You want to keep it at 6?
Is all we're doing is the public hearing?
Well, it depends if they've got everything together, we could do the whole thing.
6 o'clock.
We're gonna send in the correspondence we get as we get them.
6.
Let's keep it at 6.
6 o'clock,
Yeah,
Monday, the 28th.
Monday the 28th. We'll do a public hearing, and if you get all those documents and stuff done, give us at least a week and
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, we'll, as we get them, we'll submit them to y'all and be.
We're gonna send them to Mike.
Oh, just
Get
to you?
them, get them.
Just give 'em to
get 'em
Mike.
Together and,
Oh, all in one shot?
yeah,
Okay, okay.
because you send them to me and it just gets,
Okay.
just get them before that
Well,
28.
I'll send you, if we don't get them all, I'll send you what we got
Yeah,
like the week
yeah.
before.
okay.
Or the week before that.
So on the 28th is when we do the public hearing, so y'all can, voice your
That's
issues, concerns.
the public, that's if you guys get your
You get all your stuff together, we can
secret.
continue on and look at the entire application
We'll come back.
and have it all done.
We'll condense
You know
the-
exactly what we want, right?
The 2 years of changes
Yeah, it's been a long time,
before my
but,
time.
but you
You
started
I didn't
it.
start till last year.
Oh, really? Oh, you were definitely with a different chair back then. Okay,
Bill, did you have a question for Deb? You look like you did.
Do the folks here have an opportunity to speak tonight, like everybody else has, so.
yeah, we can do a couple minutes.
I'm gonna excuse myself.
Okay, you gotta go.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Before you go though, let's,
Okay, yes, please, before you go, John.
sorry.
We have 2 new applicants in front of us. I have one gentleman, Tony, who we've met through a previous project. He would like to meet on the State Highway 310 project.
Do you have, is that all the stuff you gave me, that big pile?
Mhm.
Is it all complete? Has B&L looked at it yet?
Uh,
No, I don't think
We haven't
so.
got anything from them. The county has.
The county did look
Yeah,
at
the
it.
county refused it.
So Kayla, how long before you can take a look at that project?
Which one is that, Mike, by name?
310, Soul America.
Is that Northwoods?
Yes,
I've started looking over that, so,
maybe just a preliminary meeting. The seeker,
Well,
yeah.
I'd like to have their,
Comments.
realistically,
Anderson,
sorry,
I'm sorry.
realistically, probably the end of next week, I could have something to you.
so let's look at a date for Northwood.
So do we have a date on the 17th already?
October the 13th,
We are on the 13th. yeah.
Thursday. We're doing County Route 27. So how does the week of the 17th look? What's going on on the
I have a
17th?
problem on that week because I have to go to Syracuse with my husband first. He has to have surgery on the
Oh.
19th, so I'll be gone the
Alright.
18th, 19th,
Are we
20th,
still in November?
21st, 22nd.
No.
No,
October.
October. I
Probably,
feel,
I mean, I can't say I'll be back.
I have something scheduled for Monday, October 17th, but
That's
I
not
don't
really
have
true.
any indication of what it was.
We did.
That's the
we-
moved one,
we moved
right?
it.
Yeah.
So how about
That's
the
right.
17th? Does that work?
I can do the
How
17th.
about the 17th?
17th.
Yeah.
We had that originally as a date.
For Old County.
I have that
Right.
scheduled
17th is
now,
Northwood,
so-
310.
It's 310, right?
Yes.
Is that Old DeKalb Road?
Does that give them enough time?
Next to
Yeah,
the
you
nursing
can.
home, still next to the nursing home.
Mhm.
At 6 p.m.
6 o'clock.
10:17 at 6 p.m.
And that's 310.
Okay.
What about Nickerson?
Oh, my gosh.
John wants to keep this.
I know nothing about the
What time did you
Nickerson
need to
Road.
go?
Yeah. They haven't even went to the county yet. I just,
Can we wait
yeah, sure.
and look at that after next week?
Fine. Yes, ma'am.
Because we're meeting on Thursday and you'll
Okay.
probably know more then.
Tony's the one, Tony's contacted me. That's the only-
Okay. All right. Okay, John,
Okay, thanks.
thank you.
See you.
Be safe, John.
Enjoy your company.
I wanted to hear the remarks, but I gotta leave.
Her flight came in.
Okay. Jim, you want to?
I can, there's a lot, but I guess this kind of go to the different groups that are there. There's a lot of holes in the secret, a lot of holes. We won't get into that. The commercial access on Huntley land, is that also removed from the agricultural, and will that affect his tax base? The access road, are there emergency turnoffs for the fire department every? Well, I don't know what the distance, the fire department can handle that.
There is a turn off there for the fire department and they'll look at it and they need to approve it before it goes into effect.
And the decommissioning process, and you're looking at that.
They're redoing that.
Yeah, that
Well,
would be, that
decommissioning
could be a
plan.
dramatic thing. California, New
Mhm.
Jersey, Canada, their landfills are filling up.
Mhm.
So your DANC, the Development Authority of North Country, Solid Waste Group should be able to assess the solid waste removal costs, the poundage, whatever, the charge for that,
Right,
the transportation, the labor,
right. All of that will be included. in
everything
the
should be included in
decommission.
that.
Absolutely, it will be.
And in the future value, I mean, don't put it in today's dollars. You want to put it.
Yes,
into
they
the
have an
25, 30,
escalator.
whatever, so you
They'll
wanna-
do an escalator.
You want to accelerate that for that.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to take the money away from the developer. If they reclaim that as they say they're going to, give them the money back.
Mhm.
But if it's gonna be $3, $4, $5 million to take that away for the county, the state, whoever it is that owns it, I mean, the gas stations look from 30, 40, 50, and 60s that the county and the state and the villages are getting hit with.
Mhm.
Those are costs that are coming back to the county taxpayers.
Right,
So you want to have that pool of money there to be able to remediate, restore that agricultural land to its original stance,
right,
and all the residual money you get back.
absolutely.
So you put it into a trust.
It is, that's our law.
The deforestation, we've done some studies, we've got some photos, we got some, what we are going to determine, with New York State and the federal government determine endangered wildlife.
Mhm.
So there's there, and in the wetlands, the photos stuff that we have from our studies show endangered species that are in there. But I guess we're gonna have to report the back to them at that point in time. I thought we were gonna do it.
Well,
tonight.
they're actually going to get us a letter from Fish and Wildlife.
But I'm not sure if Fish and Wildlife has done a study recently with the different types of endangered species that are there. So,
You know of any in particular?
Oh, yeah.
About
Yeah.
What are the species?
Well, I'm gonna tell these guys, and they're gonna find a study that's up there. Now it's not my comment point, it's in the 28th, whatever it is. I'll give it to you then.
Okay.
I mean, it just, you take a look at deforestation and
I'll
what's
just ask the question. I'll wait until.
brown bats, we've got brown bats,
For that
shit.
population.
landing turtles.
Okay.
I'm not a biologist, but there's a turtle with a red base, a yellow base, a couple of types of snapping turtles, and a dome turtle, a box turtle or something like that. And I don't know the other ones that are there, so I don't know if New York State has done this assessment. Those, and they migrate through, they lay their eggs, they breed, they're feeding. I think you said the fence is gonna be high enough for them to migrate through, which is good.
Right,
This way you won't kill all the turtles and stuff.
right.
But there's still more that are there, but those are just a couple quick examples that are there. You talked about the other lands that are in the area. There isn't an easement where you can't touch it. So you said other as none. I think that needs to be corrected to account for that use easement, that northern part of the full parcel. There's, if you look at the map, you'll see
The
there.
Huntley land,
No, the Brewer land.
the Brewer land, the northern part.
Yeah, right there.
On top there.
So there is some land that's close to it, but I'm not quite sure how the secret route, I didn't have it in front of me, I didn't get a copy of it. That is there. You see at the top north I guess that's less.
This is a conservation area.
The conservation easement, yeah.
Okay.
So that's,
Oh, yeah, it's on here.
so, well, that's on there, but it wasn't in the secret. You had other, you said none. Then you talk about water runoff. I'm assuming your solar panels aren't porous and the water's gonna run through them. I'm assuming they're more like your look at your house, there's gonna be a drip edge where the water's going to run and there'll be a concentrated deluge of runoff or potentially runoff. Well, these guys have done more studies, so these guys are writing like a son of a bitch
You
right
saw-
now on it.
Yeah.
So they're gonna number
Consider
that.
any
Did
other
you-
place.
did
I
you
mean,
see the
we bumped
modeling?
that one.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but
good.
they're talking to
good.
the board, not to you.
I'm sorry. We just,
So those are just question concerns that we have, and all the. So those ones we have, the federal wetlands, we got some for that, there's other. Numbers that we believe are accurately stated in the design. So that'll come through, we'll get a copy of your resolution and the entities that we need to send those letters and reports to.
Thank you. Mhm. Yeah.
Everything, I think.
You have nothing to
We
say?
have things that we are not gonna voice.
Really?
Yeah.
You'll voice it later, you're saving
We'll
it,
save it for
Pam?
public hearing.
All right.
Hello,
Hold on
Mr.
just a
Brewer.
minute,
Yep.
Mr. Brewer.
this is Brian. Oh,
Brian,
Brian, hang on just a second.
hold on.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Mr. Groveland. Okay. All right, thank you.
So,
All right, Mr. Brewer. Brian,
Yep, as far as the vegetation that is gonna be cut off, they're not trees, it is vegetation. It's growing up pasture land, which is crab apples, willow. It's not forestry at all. It's something you would brush hog. It's not gonna limit forestation at all. I don't know who the last gentleman was talking, but I can take him up there and show him.
do you want him to take you up there and show you?
The people need to see the board members
You guys need to
and
see it.
the agencies that you're sending your letters to.
Okay.
I'll send mine to them also.
Okay. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Brewer. Anything else?
No, I'm good, thank you.
All right. So we're all set with a public hearing. We'll send out,
But the public hearing is only if they get everything finally.
it'll be 30 days from whatever day I said. It will be that day. They're going to get everything in and our engineers, P&L,
Mhm.
are going to look at all the documents and they'll send it out to the lead agencies. And hopefully by then you'll have the SHPO letter of no effect, and you're gonna have that letter saying what endangered species, if there are any there, okay? Because we need that for SEQR Part I. Okay. Anything else, guys?
Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. We'll see you in 30 days, 35 days, whatever day. it is.
November 20.
Motion to adjourn.
I'm looking for it.
Okay. Just checking, you're all right.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
7:59. Perfect.
And Betsy, you stayed awake for the whole
Yes.
thing.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
I saw some